A very warm welcome to the audience, to all our patrons who've been watching us and who've been giving us important feedback so that we could come up with new things. And it's such a privilege and an honor for me to come up with this particular first one. First, in the sense that Pavitra has been unique in many ways. We've had a couple of webinars, but we've been dealing with food for the soul. We've also come up with yatras. We've come up with musicals. We've come up with so many other people who've been working in the social service sector. But today it's really special. It's special because I have somebody with me who creates vibrant images, who has a palette of vibrant colors with her. और ऐसा होता है ना कि जब हम चित्रकार की बात करते हैं तो उसकी भी याद आती है जो ऊपर बैठा हमारे जीवन के कैनवस पर तरह तरह के रंग बिखेर रहा है। अब मुझे बार बार वो पंक्तियां याद आती हैं, हरी भरी वसुंधरा पे नीला नीला ये गगन कि जिस पे बादलों की पालकी उड़ा रहा पवन, दिशाएं देखो रंग भरी चमक रही उमंग भरी, ये किसने फूल फूल से किया है श्रृंगार, ये कौन चित्रकार है, ये कौन चित्रकार। और उस चित्रकार ने इस धरती पर हम सब के बीच में कुछ ऐसे चित्रकार बनाए जो हमारे जीवन को, हमारी इस धरा को अपने रंगों से सजा दें। And one such painter today with us is Neerja Tata, an artist par excellence, a renowned painter of that great form of traditional art from Odisha, Pattachitra, and how well she combines it with the tribal art Sora, and then the significance of mandalas in her paintings. There's so much to her personality, and her work is enormous. It speaks for itself, as we say. And when I spoke with Neerja, the one thing that came across was her humility and her ability to minimize herself and to let her work speak. And she kept saying, I won't be able to talk much, but then I know for sure that you cannot separate the artist from the art. And I'm very happy to welcome her today on the platform of Pavitra. Ideally, I would have done an introduction, but I'm very eager to listen from her, to hear from her. And welcome to Pavitra platform, Neerja. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Shubhaji. Whole of Pavitra team. It's my honor to be there. And though I really would have wished to be there in Mumbai, but of course the times are such that, virtual meetings are happening and I'm really honored. Thank you so much.
Oh, the honor and privilege is ours, Neerja. And as I said that, I would usually take a resume, a detailed description of what all the person has done, and I have it with me. But I really want you to talk about your background, what about your childhood? And because, all these things later on culminate in what we are doing right now. So yes, do tell me about your childhood and your background.
Thank you. I'm a Telugu, born and brought up in Odisha. So I was born there. I was born there, I grew up there, I studied until my bachelor's. And so I have my heart and soul lies with Odisha. And I grew up seeing the culture, the paintings, the dances, the art forms. So for me, it's like, it's very close to my heart. But as in, I finished my master's and I was married by then, and my husband, who used to be with the civil services, so he got posted there, and this was his first posting, and we were in Bhubaneswar. I had my first child then, and I had a lot of time in my hands. And I was exploring, I was thinking what to do, and suddenly I just came across the school, art school nearby to my house. And I met this teacher, and he was teaching, like, there were many students who were doing this art Patachitra. They were studying how to do Patachitra. So the moment I saw that, okay, this is what I want to do, I got so attracted to what they were doing. So that became my next 2 years. Every afternoon for 4 hours, I would spend my time there. And for me, that was kind of a devotion, a kind of a meditation for me. Those 4 hours away from household activities and my child and everything. So that 4 hours, I would just forget everything over there. And that's how, this was 27 years back, and that's how my journey began. And then I didn't stop. I never stopped.
You said it beautifully, Neerja, that it was like meditation for you. And so I think the passion was right there within you, and your guru became an instrument to, I think, bring it
Yes.
forward.
As a child, I used to do sketching and drawing, but I wasn't so much into painting or anything. But once I joined the school, my teacher, his name is Ajay Das, Guru Ajay Das, and he actually taught me all the basics, like, how it's a very traditional form of art, and it's been there for years and years. So I know you must be knowing there's a whole village, in near to Bhubaneswar, called Raghurajpur, where their families, the whole village paints. So, and this whole family, they're like generations. They've been painting there for generations, like their grandfather, great grandfather, then the son, the father, son, the child. So everybody is involved in creating these artworks. So when I would go there, also for me, it was like, oh my God, I used to get so overwhelmed. I was like, it was a fascination thing to go and see, watch them paint and everything. So, that's how my journey began. And I really, I'm happy that I did what I had to do, and, it continued with me.
We are blessed that you did it, because in a way, it's been such a huge gain for the world of art. And my first tryst with Patachitra started way back, 20 years back. And it continues to be my favorite art form. I'm sounding partial, but due respect to all other art forms. But I love the vibrant colors, the clear, sharp images of Krishna Leela, which I came across in Raurkela at Utkalika, I remember. And I bought those Patachitras. But I see that when I see your paintings, I see that you have moved away from the traditional form of Krishna Leela, the Jagannath temple, and yours is a combination of Patachitra and Sora and the mandalas. And then I also see the fluid movement and grace of Odissi art form. So please tell us something about how you moved from this idea to that, and your choice of colors, this fusion of ideas, and the entire work.
So when I started my journey, when I started studying this art form, learning the techniques and everything, I started with painting Krishna Leelas, Rasa Leelas. I once painted a story from Bhagavad Gita. Then I did Ramayana. I did all forms of gods, and I was doing like how my teacher would teach me. But somehow I kept on doing. But in 2005, we moved to Bangkok, and when I came here, this country is also so artistically inclined. So when I go out and explore stuff, so there's so many things. I started getting these ideas that why can't I paint on different medias, like different surfaces. So that's when it occurred to me, I could just do this on bamboo. I found this bamboo very fascinating. Then I could do on porcelain. Then I could do on wood. I could do on pottery. So I started experimenting in all different medias. but doing the same, like small, I would do like a Dashavatar, a lamp, like a pot. I would paint a Dashavatar on a pot and then convert it to a lamp, and doing stuff like that. But then slowly, over the period of time, I started combining patterns of Patachitra, like the borders, with the Saura figures. So when I started doing that, people started appreciating. They said, "Oh, this is a nice fusion." And then, slowly, then I graduated to doing the Saura figures with the Patachitra figures, and somewhere along the line, I developed my own technique and own style. But yes, I do keep in mind the rules and techniques of what I learned during the art, during the classes and everything. So then somehow I just, it just happened. I didn't think, okay, today I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do that, but it just happened over the period of time.
It
But
came natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just fused in, and it was like a flow.
It just went.
Yes,
And
yes.
then the colors which I mostly use all the natural colors, the organic vegetable dyes. I bring all my colors from Bhubaneswar. They are these, they basically come in the 5 primary colors. It's like red, there's red, green, black, white, and yellow. These are the 5 colors, and all, like, the white is made of conches, the black is made of lamp suit. These are the natural colors, but the secondary colors are made by mixing these, natural colors. So I don't have a variety of colors in my techniques. You would see my colors would mostly have, orange at the most, and now the indigo color is very common, so I use indigo a lot. Then to make, I use turquoise, because then I make the, turquoise out of indigo, because I love using turquoise in my colors. So, and I use then the I prepare, but I paint mostly on silk now. Even though there was a point when I experimented on a lot of other medias like bamboo, porcelain, and wood, but I love doing it on silk, raw silk. And then the technique of also, the silk which I make, I bring the silk from Odisha, and here at home I prepare a glue with a tapioca starch, and I kind of mount the silk on a wooden board, and that's when I start painting. So there's a whole process which actually goes in it. And so the whole preparation of the colors, the preparation of the board, I could show you. I've kept a board over here in which I have mounted raw silk on it. So this this is stuck with the glue and then sun dried. So it becomes dry like this, and it becomes very easy to paint. But again, this I have done it on a bark of a wood. If you see, it's a bark of a wood. So I kind of do like these also. So, but the basic thing, I use the natural colors and the silk, and then I go ahead with my painting techniques.
As you were talking, Neeta, I was really appreciating the fact that how organic the whole process is. And it reiterates the fact that God created all this for us, and Mother Nature provides us with everything. And in these times of COVID, when we're talking about leaving aside artificiality, taking a pause, going back to Mother Nature, I think your process of painting also comes across with a very strong message. Thank you so much for telling us about it. And I'm tempted, Neeta, because I can see so many paintings in the background. I would love it if you could, pinpoint one particular painting and talk about it. Okay. If you could, yeah. Because I can see a few in the background. Is it possible?
Yes, sure. So this is, if you can see this is a mirror actually in between, and surrounding is silk again, which is mounted on a wooden board. And I have painted this. I had painted in 2016. There was this exhibition, called Nari, which I had participated among with other artists. And the theme of the exhibition was about women empowerment. So I had blended the Saura and the traditional Patachitra patterns in it. and I thought, let me do something which actually is close to a woman's heart, like a mirror.
Just to interrupt you a little bit, you just spoke about Saura and Patachitra in this particular painting where the mirrors there and around it you've painted. Can you tell me which one is distinctly Saura and which one is Patachitra? Or both are blending together? I would really love to understand.
No. They're not blending together. The Saura figures are little tiny tribal figures, and the Patachitra figures are the larger figures. So the patterns are Patachitra, where the borders are all very typical Patachitra borders, and the figures, the women who are there with all the jewelry and everything. There is a particular technique how you do the jewelry, how you paint the jewelry. So that is all the Patachitra style. Then again, you have the Saura images in between, small with these dancers, they are dancing, they're celebrating life. So those are the Saura figures. And of course the tree, the patterns, they're all like, you would see them in most Patachitra paintings.
So the bold, prominent, distinct figures are typically Patachitra, right?
Yes.
So does Saura have any resemblance to the Worli painting?
It does. Only if you see it like that, you won't find the difference. But when you, as a person who would know the art form would know, Wali is more triangular in shape, but the Saura figures are rounded. And yeah, basically it's a tribe in Odisha where they paint all these things in the inner mud walls. They have these inner mud huts, so the walls are all painted. They paint their own figures, small tribal figures, and they mostly are about plowing, harvesting. They're natural, it's all close to nature. There'll be birds, there'll be monkeys. So it's basically how a person is living in nature. So now you go to Bhubaneswar, there's streets and streets, all major buildings, the outside walls are all Saura art or Patachitra art. So it's all street art all over the city.
See, in a way, the tribals and their culture is something that is really our heritage.
Yes.
And when you talk about the Harvest Festival being depicted, there's a thread which runs across. I saw a couple of people painting painting in the Worli style, and I noticed that they too have the Harvest Festival and the activities related to farming, and everything is there. But Deepa, I was looking at some of the paintings there, and I think towards the other side there was a blue painting. Yes, I'm right. I want to know what it is about.
So this painting I had done during the lockdown actually, and I had done it for a purpose, and it again it represents I've named it as Adhyatmik Shakti. That means inner or spiritual strength. And the painting here, it demonstrates the strength of women. There are 4 women dancers over there, main Odissi dancers actually. I've painted them in the style of, Odissi patterns. And there are 4 of them. And these different poses, one is compassion, one is peace, one is heroism, and one is strength. So there are 4 poses over there. And in between, there is an inner circle where there are all these Saura dancers and the animals inside it, so I feel they're representing isolation phase during the current pandemic time. So I feel even though people are isolated, there is a a big community support with them, and you can see the strength which we all, the whole circle shows the strength in which they display. Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing how the times we live in, inspire us and have an impact on our creativity. And this is a real example of it. And the 6 paintings that you've painted for us, painted for Pavitra, I particularly liked 2. One is, I think, Vidambana, and the other is Samyukta. They are my personal favorites. So I would be really happy if, we could be shown Vidambana first. And if you could talk about this.
Yeah, sure. See, Vidambana is a beautiful Sanskrit word which represents many things. It represents irony, it represents difficult circumstances, and also disguise. So this also I painted during the COVID, during the lockdown, and when there was a time when we used to hear, I don't know, in India at least, about a lot of physical abuse happening, because the women are all, they were, everybody was at home, and so then there were many cases where the physical abuse would go up. So I felt all these are applicable, this painting is applicable to, in different ways, to the situation we found ourselves in, where a woman would, she can't show her scars, and the mask is there, she's holding a mask where she's not able to show her scars, and dealing with many odds in the situation, like she's a caregiver, she's a mother, she's handling her household, she's taking care of the household, and still she's going through some kind of physical abuse. And then the dancers which are around, surrounding that lady, I felt that it shows how we are all together in this difficult time.
Beautiful. And the other one is Samyukta. If I'm correct, Samyukta is one of the names of goddess Durga.
Yes.
So
yes.
If you could talk about this. And yes, again, I see a circular form. Is it what you refer to as mandala?
Yes. So I, for the last 2 years, more than 2 years actually, I had this thing in mind that I want to do, show both these art forms in the form of mandala. So I have most of my paintings which I've done in the last 3 years, 4 years, they're all been mandalas. So here, Samyukta, I felt, it's a painting about connections beyond the physical. It represents that we can be united with our others even when we are alone. So we are united through our actions, beliefs, and values. That's what I felt. So that it just came to my mind and I did it.
During our conversation, you referred to women empowerment. You spoke about the challenges that are faced by women, and you've given your own expression to how you would, stand up and say that, hey, this is wrong, right? Because Goddess Durga is so much at the center of your work. And you are, I think, mother of 2 sons, isn't it? So how would you, if this just came across, how would you tell them something about women empowerment if you were to say anything to them? Your paintings contain so much of message.
Yes. So I always, they're grown-up children. They both are working. They both are working in different parts of the world. One is in Mumbai and one is in Canada. And so they have been away from home for the last 6 years. Like, we are both empty nesters now. But whenever I speak to them every day, but still, whenever, that is one thing which I feel, I always tell them, respect women. Whether it's your mother, whether it's your friend, whether it's your girlfriend, whether it's anybody, and be a humble person. And, that's what you don't have to be a great topper. You don't have to excel in your school. You don't have to get the best marks or anything, but I think you have to be a good person and respect women or any person, respect whether any elderly person, anyone who is older to you, or even children. Just be, you should be humble, is what I always tell them.
When we hear somebody like you talking about it, I personally feel there's so much hope, and that all's going to be good, and right values being inculcated in the younger generation is something that is going to shape the world, the future that is going to be there. It's been really wonderful talking to you, but tell me something, You must have had quite a few exhibitions, more than 20?
No, not 20. I had like in the last 10 years, I had like I had like independent, I had about 6 or 7, like a solo, but I did participate in many exhibitions along with other artists. Yeah, I would say
Oh,
more than 10, 12. Yeah.
okay. Okay. And any particular experience uh, from those exhibitions where you felt that, wow, it was worth it? The satisfaction it gave you, the happiness when, people appreciated your art. Any particular experience?
Uh, I think every exhibition was a learning in itself. Um, at the end of exhibition, I mean, I'm very happy that people, kind of really appreciate, and they want to have it in their homes. So that itself, the whole, the feeling when someone comes to an exhibition and say, this is, we really like it, or what I wanted to show in the paintings, when they relate to it, that is when I feel, the happiest. For me, that's the happiest moment. And I think all my exhibitions have gone very well. Especially the last exhibition was, I think it went really well. And by the end of it, I was really satisfied. But still, I feel okay. There is something I need to improve on. Then I mean, there is always something to improve on. No one is perfect, so there's always a learning process involved.
Nietzsche, about music, it said that music needs no language and it has its own distinct idiom, and there's a connect from heart to heart with the audiences. So when we have a Pakka classical Shastriya singer singing in the US and the audience is entirely American audience, they also appreciate it. Is it true for paintings also, which are stylized like yours and so distinctly Indian? Does this happen that you get a very good connect and a very good response from foreign connoisseurs of the art?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because I've participated in exhibitions in New York and in Bangkok also. Like, so once I had this exhibition at a church with other artists. It was twice actually, and so there were no Indians over there. It was all foreigners who would just walk in, and they would like discuss how they were very they were very happy, and they would ask me, how would you do all these details. They would very interested in the colors, how I use it, how I prepare them, the way I do the whole process itself is very interesting to them. And yeah, because I think also it's because everything is organic and everything is so natural. I think that's one which actually kind of attracts the a person's eye. And it's been, yeah, I've got positive responses from people.
I'm sure this appreciation must have been such a huge morale booster for you. And what more does an artist want? But that her creativity and her idiom is so well understood by the audience or those who appreciate art. In your life, who has been your main source of inspiration amongst the artists or otherwise people around you? Who has been motivating you the most, and where do you draw your inspiration from?
I think most Indian artists, the famous artists, they're fabulous. I'm a huge fan of most Indian artists who are doing in contemporary styles. Of all the artists, I think for me, Ramesh Gojala is someone who I really relate to, because the intricate work which he does, and the way he does all the goddess and all the colors and all, it's very fascinating to watch all his paintings. And also a lot of artists from, when I go to Raghurajpur itself, all those families of chitrakars, the whole generations who paint, they are a great source of inspiration for me. And when I just walk on the, or just go in the car in the streets of Bhubaneswar, when I see those street arts, I get really fascinated. For me, like every time I go every year, but every time I go, I look at those paintings, and and even though it's done by someone, and I really respect the people who do so much, uh, the intricate detail. It's so vast, and they do huge big sizes of paintings and very intricate work. So each painting is done by like 2 3 4 people sitting on it, and and that really fascinates me. And I feel I can never ever do such such detailed work. I do, but for me, I think that is something, that's the ultimate, what they do in Bhubaneswar and Raghurajpur. But having said that, yeah, my husband is also he really supports me, and he is an explorer. He loves exploring place, any new place, everything. So for me, if I have like done something, experimenting, if I'm experimenting on different medias or different techniques or something, so it's he who encourages me, and he's out always with me. Okay, let's go to this place and explore. So we are like most of the time like exploring this, that. So that's how I think he's a great support for me.
He lives up to that great term. I'm very fond of it, where, in Hindi literature, even in English, life has always been compared to a journey, yatra, and co-travelers. But in Hindi, they explain it very well as sahyatri. So it's really a blessing to have such a sahyatri who is encouraging you, and, all art is intertwined, whether it's plays or it's dance forms or it's music or it's paintings.
Yeah.
I think all of it can be explained, and there's a fluid movement. When I see the Odissi dance form, I'm very fond of watching dances and classical forms, and each of them have a distinct, unique flavor. But what I noticed about Odissi is the fluid movement, how each movement blends into the other, and the lovely headgear and the patterns on the fabric. Uh, does that inspire you so much? Because I see dance form Odissi and the dancers there in your paintings.
Yes, actually, my niece is a very good Odissi dancer. And so while it was like, while I keep watching her videos when she's performing, so I get this sense of, I can't like, I have tears running, and I have this sense of peace and joy when I watch her dancing. So that's when it just occurred to me, since uh, Odissi is a form which is so beautiful, with a lot of the headgear, the waist belt and everything. So why not? So one day I just got this idea, why not blend the Odissi form of dance into my paintings along with the Saura dancers and the Patachitra style, in the Patachitra style. So that's how it just occurred to me, and I started doing these. So for that, then it occurred to me, when I do that, then I'm not a professional dancer, so I might not get the mudras and all expressions right. So then I started doing the silhouette figures. That's how I went into doing the figures silhouette. So then I thought, okay, this is when I'm doing this, so maybe the other parts of the painting, like the borders and the backgrounds, are kind of there is a contrast with the from the figure and the background. So that's how I went ahead and started blending all two dance from the Saura dancers, the Odissi dancers, in the Patachitra style.
So this just came to my mind when you were talking about those who came to your exhibition and appreciated your work. Do you think that the younger generation appreciates our traditional art? And do you go to your children and ask for their response, their critical appreciation of your work, so that you can see how the younger generation is looking at your work?
So yeah, I do. I keep asking my kids, how is, and they're also, whenever I've had exhibitions there in town, or when they've been seeing me painting ever since they're born. So So they say, oh mom, this is very nice, oh this is very nice. So the other day, my younger one, he lives in Toronto, so he moved houses. So he said, mom, can you send me a picture of the Dashavatar painting? So actually I have a Dashavatar painting which I painted exactly before he was born. So this is about 25 years back. I said, why do you want that? He said, no, I want to, of course, because of the last 1 year, we haven't seen him because we can't travel, or he can't come, or we can't go. So he said, I'm going to put that on print it on a canvas, and I'm going to put it at the background because I grew up watching that. So I really want that in my apartment. I said, oh, that's very nice. Why don't you? I said, I'll get you the painting when I come. He said, no, it's okay. You keep it with you. I just want a nice picture of it so that I print it on a canvas and I watch it, because I grew up watching that painting. For me, it's always there in front of me. So I would like to have it in my house. So that's, so when he said that, I was very touched. So
yes. It's making me emotional because that painting is like the umbilical cord between you and your son, and so many memories associated with it. That's how we grow up. And this is how, you live by example. Your surroundings, your life, the way you conduct yourself, the way you do things, it inspires and molds the entire generation. It's so wonderful, Neeta. And there is so much you cannot, as an artist, separate yourself from what's going on around you. I would love to know how you would define your role as a painter in today's world, because our society, our modern world, apparently is dominated by very materialistic inclinations and trends. And there's too much of running away from roots and trying to copy what is not ours. So, what would be your message, and how do you think painters can inspire the thought process in a very positive way?
see what I'm doing, because there are different kinds of artists here. I would say the modern artists who do modern art, like they are, abstract. They just, everything is like it all, one fine day they'll say, oh, this is what I want to do. Or they just come up, they just start and they just come up with amazing pieces of work. And there is another category of artists who are the folk artists or the traditional artists who actually stick to what has been already been there for many years, like what I'm doing. Since this is a very age-old art form, it's been there for many, many years. And for me, I totally respect each and every artist. But here, what I'm doing is, for somewhere along the line, I have moved away from this traditional art form. Maybe I have gone into more contemporary. I keep the stylized, the style intact, and I'm putting these two art forms together. I have gone into a contemporary style. So you will see all my paintings, they look like Pattachitra. They look, oh, this reminds me of Pattachitra, but then it's not actually Pattachitra. You'll see there's a lot of, oh, this is totally different, this is different, this is, because it's not gods. I'm not painting gods and goddesses. First of all, Pattachitra is the original Pattachitra, started with Jagannath, stories of Jagannath, Ras Leela, Krishna, Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita, and everything. But now I have actually, deviated from that, line, and I have developed a own style of myself for myself, and and everything is a learning for me as I grow. I've been painting for 27 years, and throughout all these years, slowly, I have deviated to. For me, it's how I have grown, or it's it's a journey, like what I would say. But having said that, what the traditional artists who are painting also do a great job. And so here, what I would say, I would keep some rules in my mind. Okay, this is how the borders have to be done. This is how the jewelry is to be done. This is how the leaves are to be done. So which I've learned. So I don't change those. I just follow all those rules and regulations. But still, you will see my paintings are totally different.
If I were to sum up and talk about the essence of the whole process and the message that it's conveying to those who are watching you, those who are appreciating your art, is that you do not forget your roots.
Exactly.
And yes.
Do not forget
And
your roots. But at the same time, life is a journey. It's a learning process. You evolve as you grow. You evolve. You learn different. You see. You explore. You learn, and you evolve as a person, as an artist. It's not that you kind of, oh, I'm not going to change. This is how I'm going to be. I will not budge from my style. This is how. It's not like that. You can certainly evolve and learn and see others. You see, I mean, for me, I've been going to exhibitions. I see artists. So for me, everything is a learning for me. So, oh, that artist did that. Oh, that would be nice. Something if I could go along that line. So when I think of that, then I come up with something, oh, this is actually not looking bad. This is going well with my theme. So I think life is a journey where you learn, evolve, and I think it's a learning process. Learning never stops.
the more I talk to people who are creative, the more this conversation between the two of us proceeds, I am absolutely sure that it's very important to teach our children one form of art or the other. Because in this world of numbers and science, which of course have their own value, I think any creative form of art lends a depth to the personality, lends you sensitivity. Because I see you talking about women empowerment. I see you talking about holding on to your roots and nourishing your work with those age old traditions and then evolving and moving ahead on this journey. Uh, it's been such a wonderful learning through your work and through what you think, and each of it blends together so seamlessly. It's been great, Neja. And yes, I'm also very impressed by the idea of experimenting on various mediums. You talked about bamboo surface, you talked about canvases, you talked about making lamp shades out of your work, isn't it? Did you talk about? So there are, I think, six paintings that you've painted exclusively for Pavitra. Tell me about this one. This is Shringar, isn't it?
Yes, it represents adornments, and beauty and celebration of being a woman.
Okay. We have another one, I think. There are four more. So,
This
yes, this one.
Arpan, this is an offering to the gods and to the rest of the mankind, and it represents, sacrifice and service to others.
You named it as
Arpan.
Arpan. Okay, an offering. Yes, here comes the third one.
This is mudra. It's a gesture of being in joy at and being with nature.
Okay, so it's how, uh-huh. And here we have, so this is a mandala, right? The
Yeah.
circular form.
Yes, they're all in mandalas. Mandalas, like it's a very spiritual and ritual symbol in Hinduism and Buddhism. So, which represents the universe. So, since you would see the Saura art is also in circles. So I thought, why not do these, do kind of blend all of them in circular forms, all the dance forms. So this painting is, it's called, I've named it Dvimukha, which represents twin personas in many people. So here the lady is again holding a mask, and she's surrounded by dancers, Saura dancers.
Yes, very distinct. And yes, I can see how you educated me about the difference between Worli and Sora. Worli is more of sharp lines, and
Yeah.
Sora has those
Yes.
rounded edges to it. There are no edges, there are those easy blends. And
Yes.
yes, wonderful. Oh, how, if I were to ask you, what would be your message for young budding artists who are into painting the traditional stylized forms, what would you say to them by virtue of your experience?
I think respect the stylized art form, and at the same time learn more, explore, and evolve yourself as an artist. But
And yes,
yes, but the stylized form has to be there. It should be. I mean, it's there. One shouldn't fiddle with it.
it's
But at
purity.
yes, but at the same time, evolve yourself, grow, learn, see the world, learn. Yeah.
There's the strength to experiment a lot. And I often have a very uneasy feeling that there's a very thin line between fusion and distortion. Sometimes, the it is to just break free of from the mold, and that kind of yearning for freedom to rebel, which is so typical of the younger generation these days, and that the fusion becomes, it moves away from the original flavor. So
Yes.
the fusion has to be careful.
Yes. Yes. When you blend two art forms, it's very important not to, in the process, not to make it looking very, make it look very confused. So it's very important how you blend it also.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
I find that now, see, we have 6 of your paintings, and we are going to be talking to our viewers about them through our Instagram page and on Facebook. And this interview is going to be on YouTube. Our social media has such a great impact, and it has so many positives. But I feel that somewhere down the line, it could hamper the copyright of an artist. What is your opinion? Because people just might start copying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you can't stop that. One can't stop someone copying in this age, because social media, you can't stop it. And I can't do a copyright of my work also. It's not like that. I mean, I feel, someone learns it, someone does it, replicas, or someone does it. It's nice that, okay, in fact, I've got messages from young people that, oh, ma'am, we really liked your painting and you are a big inspiration. So I've made something like you. And someone has shared that on Instagram, and I was so touched. But the little girl, she's done such a fabulous work. She's done, but yeah, original is original. What I've done is there. But then I don't think, I can't make a copyright. And it's nice when youngsters learn and if I'm an inspiration for some young girl, young lady, or a young boy, and they do produce works, so I'm totally okay with it.
It has been wonderful talking to you, Neeta, and it has been a learning experience for me. I have realized that there is so much more to know, and that as long as one breathes and lives, the process must continue. And artists like you add so much of color, literally and metaphorically, to our lives, add so much of peace and calm to the otherwise race which is going on around us. And what can I say? I just hope and pray that your association with us as a painter, as a human being, continues, and that we are able to showcase more of your work through our platform. It's been great talking to you, Neeta. Uh, Thank you so much for being
Thank
here. And on
you.
behalf of Team Pavitra, I can
Thank you.
only
I'm really honored that I'm here with all of you, and thank you, really, thank you very much for appreciating, and thank you very much for everything.
Yes, and thank you so much. But Neerja, on behalf of Team Pavitra, I can just say that may your imagination reach beyond everything that's visible. May it cross all borders and boundaries. And may you continue to paint your canvases with colors and forms forever new. So here's wishing you abundant creativity and looking forward to meeting you in person post the COVID period. And I just hope and pray that we get an opportunity to host you here in Mumbai and have one of your exhibitions here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And to our audience, once again, I'd say thank you very much for being with us. And we'll be back again soon with somebody who can inspire creativity in us, in the younger generation. And it's been such an honor and a privilege for Pavitra to host an artist the caliber of Neerja Tata. Thank you so much, patrons. Thank you so much for watching us. See you once again. Thank you so much, Neerja.
Thank you.